Hello and welcome to Petrol Media. My name is Terrence. Today I decided that I was going to work on a track on the 5000. I've been trying to give it some more love because I've been so focused on things with the 1000. And there's some things in the 5000 that I haven't tried out as much just yet. So I decided what I wanted to do today was to chop up a sample on the 5000. I already have it loaded in here. I haven't chopped it yet, so we're going to go through that together. And then I'm going to maybe add some of the stuff from the synth. I know that this has 300 patches out of the Elasis Micron, which was a really nice synthesizer back in the day. It only had about, I think, 300 to 500 patches anyway. So either it has all the Micron's patches or most of the Micron's patches. I can't exactly remember. Now, I was thinking about buying an Akai Miniac, but I changed my mind after realizing how many of those patches are already in here. So it didn't really make any sense. Either way, let's get into this track and let's see what we can come up with. So this is the sample that I got. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through the track. I'll talk as little as possible because my process tends to go pretty quick. You'll probably hear me say some random stuff because I think everybody does that. They say some random things here and there when they're working. But let's have some fun with it. Perfect. One. It's really fast at chopping when you use the faders. And it's a pretty cool little feature. First one's chopped. Let's see what we got. Okay, I think I got something. So how does that come together? It comes together like this. So the two main parts are done. So now the next thing I need to do is to get some drums. Oh, right, that's muted. Undo. I just realized what I did. All right, it's the next day, and I had a chance to sit with what I was working on, and I really didn't like it. Rather than continue down the path I was going, I had a different idea. I went and tracked down a different loop to play around with, and the idea that I'm working on right now, I think it's a better one, and we're going to walk through the process. Also, I wasn't feeling the angle of the camera when I was looking back at the footage, so I decided to go with this angle instead. Either way, let's get back into it. Check one other thing, because you always want to make sure the chops fall the way you want it, like what you're hearing in your head. Do it. forget because I'm so used to playing with this thing that is not note repeat. This is note. With the winds being what they are out here in Cali and all the things we're dealing with, it's smart at this point to save my progress. I'm pretty much done with the 5,000 and what I want to do on the 5,000. All that's left now is to decide how I'm transferring the files from here. There's two ways I can do it. I can either track it out, which I haven't done in a while since getting rid of the Midas. Have the optical out so I can actually do it that way and straight into SSL 12, which is what I'm considering. Or I can do it where I drop it into the computer and create the stems in the MPC2 software. To be honest with you, that's probably the way I'm going to go about it. Very good. All right, so everything's been mapped to logic. So okay, so this is the third day working on this record. Was trying to create the stems from the track out of the optical out, the audio sounded weird. And by that I mean the drums and everything were there, but it just wasn't as loud and present as I wanted it to be. On the MPC itself, it actually didn't sound so bad, but it was pretty low. And I was trying to figure out why it was low, because I know those same sounds are on the 5000, the 1000, and in the sound pack that I created on the MPC2 software. And in the software, they actually hit hard. And the 1000, they hit hard. And the 5000, they hit hard. But I just couldn't figure out what was going on. Maybe it's because late night, the brain's not functioning so great. But needless to say, this morning, when I took a fresh look at the actual record, it sounds fine. It just, I guess maybe it was just me and my mentality at that time. Also, knowing how to mix a record really well is a true skill, because it actually helps you to fix issues when you find them, versus having issues and then saying to yourself, oh, this doesn't work, I need to throw the whole thing away. I did fix the drums and get the stems out at the proper volume level. So the mix sounds better now. All that's left to do now is to arrange it in Logic and dump out a copy of it for you guys to hear. So let's get that done. When you're mixing your record, what you don't want to do is mix loud. You want to actually keep it really low so that you can hear the things that are poking out and in your face. And that way you can control the audio a little bit better to hear the final version.
Mr. Anderson.
That's going to do it for this track. The takeaways I have for this is, when you start working on something and you feel like it's not working, it's okay to step away and do something different, like go in a different direction. The first track I was working on, it was okay. It wasn't great. I wasn't really feeling it. And when you start to have those second thoughts about what you're doing, you need to tell yourself that it's okay to step away from it and try a different direction. The second track that I started on, I already knew exactly how I wanted it to feel when I started it. I was playing with the sample the next morning just to see what I was feeling about it, and I knew in my head the way I wanted it to play. I usually, when I work on a record, I tend to just listen to the sample or listen to the sounds, doesn't matter what it is, and play back in my head how I think it should chop and how I should lay down the actual samples before I actually work on it. And I literally spent the entire day playing it in my head over and over. Not that it was complicated. I knew that it was going to be a very basic loop, but there were certain places that I knew I needed to place the chops for it to lay the way I wanted it to lay. I knew that I wanted a high and low version of it. I did all of those things ahead of time, so that when I finally got to the 5000, all I had to do was put it in, chop it up, and then get to work. That's why, as you saw, this highlighted what I talk about, where the creation process takes minutes. It took no time to do the chops on the 5000, the drums, the whole nine, and then adding the the organs and the guitars on the Fantom X in Logic, all of that stuff took like no time because I knew exactly how I wanted it to play out. But finalizing the record and mixing it, that took extra time. So think about that when you start working on your projects and realize that you need to go over everything a certain way. It's always good to do the mix. You can do it the same day, but it's always good to go back and listen to it again the very next day. Like I said, last night, I wasn't feeling it. And this morning, I listened to it again and I was like, oh, you know what? It's actually fine. So again, thank you for listening. Like, share, and subscribe, and join me next time. Hey, bud. One of them's here.